Merry Christmas, Mucka.
It's a Commander tune-up just for you.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, assisting with a Secret Santa gift, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. But if you're not one person specifically receiving this gift as a Secret Santa, you can go to the TCG Player affiliate link in the description where you can buy all the best Magic cards in the entire world. And if you're thinking, didn't he skip the Patreon thing? No, I didn't. It's right here. Go to that link in the description to support us. It's the best way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to support us is directly. And also, you can use Dragon Shield. Buy the sleeves for the same price you would normally buy them. And guess what? You get the sleeves and you support the nerds. Now, you might notice, I don't know how well the camera can see, but Amber's in this video because Mucka loves cats.
He does. So Amber's going to be just kind of freely wandering around for this entire thing. So if you want to see more Amber, let us know because I would love for her to be in every video.
She cannot be in every video.
She's going to be in every video.
Because she doesn't know if she could stay like that, which she won't.
I think she will.
I guarantee.
She might get a little frisky.
If she moves once, then you're... Oh, wow, that was quick.
She loves us.
She's does.
Just trying to be friendly.
She does love us. So this is a Commander tune-up. That's where we take your usually patron or usually donator submitted deck and we upgrade it under your restrictions. Well, this one's a little bit different. This is a Secret Santa graph from my friend Mucka. And what I'm doing is I'm taking his Araumi of the Gravetide, right? Something tide.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Is it the Gravetide?
I think it's Araumi of the Gravetide.
There's some... No, that... Is it? Araumi of the Dead Tide, which I said the first time.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely nailed it. Araumi of the Dead Tide. I took his deck, got a list from another friend, so I could upgrade it under my own restrictions, which was whatever I felt like spending on a Secret Santa gift this year.
I'm just along for the ride. I didn't do any of this. This was all cherries. I am just providing the cat and extra commentary.
Yes, he is a commentary master. So the first thing we have to do in this video, of course, is read the commander so we know what we're getting ourselves into. Araumi of the Dead Tide. 1 blue-black legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. 1/4. Tap. Exile cards from your graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have. Target creature card in your graveyard gains Encore until end of turn. Encore reads, exile the creature card and pay its mana cost. For each opponent, create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Activate only as a sorcery. So the theme of this deck, Reanimator. We're putting creatures into our graveyard to reanimate with some other spells we might have, or mostly Araumi. Our goal is to get Araumi out there, activate her, and just get awesome ETBs, death triggers, and attack triggers. Whichever one of those is, we're going to triple up on it because we're going to have 3 of this creature because of the Encore.
All right, so since Jordan already had this deck together, what are some of the best cards that are already in it?
Well, not even close. This is one of the best Boots/Lightning Greaves decks in existence, period. It's amazing. We want Araumi to have haste so we can activate her ability right away. And she is so susceptible to spot removal.
Lightning Rod.
Absolutely a lightning rod. Literally, lightning bolt is, if they have a bolt, it's going for Araumi because she's got 3 toughness. Oh, she's got 4.
4 toughness. That would be a terrible, terrible play.
If they have...
You're playing lightning bolt and you're targeting a 4 toughness
They have
creature.
double lightning bolt, so they're going to kill it.
Wow. Okay. How about Stitcher Supplier? It's just 1 mana and it mills 6 cards as long as you can kill it. That's good for 2 activations of Arami's Exile Clause, and then you can get the best things that are left over. Stitcher Supplier is just the best rate for a creature that mills ever.
Absolutely. And besides anything, all the mill creatures, there's going to be some more a little bit in the future here. They're just amazing to bring back with Araumi because they refuel your graveyard. Stitcher Supplier, you just put 12, or no, you put 9 cards, and then you put 9 more. You put 18 cards in your graveyard when you encore Stitcher Supplier. It's completely bonkers.
I don't know how you got 9. It's 3 instances of 6, but you still got the right total.
9,
which is 18.
9 the first time, 9 the second time.
Oh, you're going with all 3 ETBs at once and then all 3 dies at once.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That is how I did it. Baleful Strix, I mean, this is just, it's a low in strong ETB. It also has Death Touch, meaning it's a great blocker.
It comes up the ground.
You trade it off with whatever you want to trade, and not even the ground, air too. It literally flies. You go up everything, and if they choose to attack you, you don't care. You'll trade with literally anything to get in your graveyard and draw 3 new cards with it.
Yeah, one of the win cons, the go-to easiest jams in the deck, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. It already counts as self. So even just by itself, it's drain everybody for 2, you gain 6 because of that sweet, sweet wording. Hashtag this was a common. But if you have 3 enter the battlefield at the same time, well, that's now 3 instances of at least 7 because you have Araumi and 3 Grey Merchants. So now you're draining them all for 21 and you gain like 63. Is that math accurate?
That's the minimum that can happen unless they interact. If they
Right, 'cause it's 7/7/7. Yeah, that's right.
if you have anything else on the battlefield, this can even potentially be lethal. It scales really, really quickly. Each 1 pip you have on the field is 3 damage and 9 life.
Yes, and the next one, maybe even more of a win condition.
It's bonkers. It's Massacre Worm, which when it enters the battlefield, everything gets -2/-2 that your opponents control. Well, if that happens 3 times, everything gets -6/-6. And on top of that, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they lose 2 life. Uh-oh.
That stacks.
That 1, 2, 3. That's 6 life. Every creature that died, this will kill players quick.
Plus -6/-6. So it's basically Plague Win, and then they take 6 for each time they lose something. They don't need to have that many things before they're just done.
No, not a lot at all. If they have 10 creatures, is 100% death. I think 8 kills them. That's not that many.
So step 1 with any Araumi deck is you got to fill up the graveyard so that you can pay those 3 cards that she requires to exile so you can encore something else awesome out of the graveyard. We want to get threats in there and then get, lands in there so we can pay it.
Yeah. This deck, it was doing what it wanted to do. Mucka built this deck and he understood, I want to fill my yard. There's lots of ways to do this. Unfortunately, a lot of the ways he did it were with cards he had rather than cards that are good.
Okay.
So the first one, Ransack the Lab. This is just not a commander card. I'm not a fan of this. Is Anticipate, but you put the cards in the graveyard instead.
We can find that ability on creatures.
Yeah, exactly. No Shireen, Surveil 2, draw. No Shireen is not a playable card in Commander unless you really have Surveil synergies.
Yeah, I don't even have it in my Surveil deck now that we're mentioning it. Discovery, Dispersal. I do have this in my Surveil deck. I love this card so much, but it's a spell. It's kind of clogging up things where there's plenty of creatures that ETB and mill, and I'm sure we'll get to some of them. And the fact that they're creatures means we can encore them for double utility. You can't do anything with Discovery Dispersal once you cast it.
It's so much better to get these things onto creatures, which is going to be our goal. Corpse Churn? No, thank you. We don't want these 2-mana instants mill 3. That's just not good enough. That rate is bad in Commander.
Yeah, Sinister Sabotage, Court of Cunning, there's just more ways to mill that aren't creatures, and I feel like that's what I would say for both of them, so that's where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, we can interact via Sinister Sabotage with creatures, and then we can draw cards, Court of Cunning, and mill with creatures. So
yeah, Court of Cunning's unreliable. You can never, if you could do the 10 reliably, that'd be worth it, but you really can't. And Sinister Sabotage is bad. 3-mana counter spells
below rate
are just are not good in Commander, especially if you're pushing the power level higher and higher. It's like they stop being playable around a 4 or 5 for me.
I think so. What's Bizarre Trade Mage?
Bizarre Trade Mage is, it's a Bizarre Baghdad activation, which is decent, but it's an overcosted body. And if you encore this, you're going to discard like everything.
You're down 3 cards.
You're down 3 cards. That's a lot of discards. It will fill your graveyard, but it's a lot of card disadvantage. It's not quite good enough. I think this card is cute and fits the idea of the deck, and the fact that it's a creature is good. But we're going to do better, and we'll show you how.
Yeah, Deranged Assistant is like the most on theme here. I'll throw in Crow of Dark Tidings and Gorging Vulture too, and Sphinx of Uthun. They're all creatures that fill the graveyard and get you card advantage or selection. But we can even boost those. Even these awesome creatures, we can be like, I got something else.
Deranged Assistant's only 1 a turn. Like 3 mana, mill 2, not good enough. And we have a couple of those right there in your Gorging Vulture and your...
Vulture's 4, Crow is 2 on ETB and 2 on Dying. So they're both kind of 4, but they don't do anything in play. They're just not flashy. We got you. We got you, Mucka.
4 for 3 mana. We're going to get the rates that we're going to be looking for. You'll see they're just better than that. You mentioned Sphinx of Uthun. That's just a little overcosted.
I love that card.
It is a very cool card. Won't even argue with that. Gravebreaker Lamia. It's too much. It's too expensive. This is 5 mana to entomb. We can entomb for cheaper.
Yeah. There's also Dream Eater. I really love me some Dream Eater. And personally, I couldn't have brought myself to cut this card. So no comment.
I brought myself to cut it.
What did we add, though? Time for the juice.
It's time for the juice. We're self-milling. There's a lot of good cards to self-mill. The first one, Hedron Crab. This is based on landfall. If you want to upgrade your fetches, I did not upgrade your fetch lands. Sorry, Mucka.
You didn't buy you any fetch lands.
We didn't buy you any fetch lands.
I didn't buy him anything.
I didn't buy you any fetch lands, Mucka. So if you want to add fetch lands, they'll make the Hedron Crab that much better. But this is a 1-drop. It mills 3 every single land drop. Nobody's killing this. It's only going to get swept up in board wipes. Awesome card. Also, if you encore and you have a fetch land, you just mill yourself 18. You got 18 again.
Well, that seems good. Undead Butler is one of the best cards to come out from the year for this strategy. ETB mill 3 on a 2-mana creature. Not something you can really get. Oh, my cat just sneezed. It was adorable. But when it dies, you exile it, and you get the creature that you want the most back. Now, I don't think this does not work on Encore. So we're just getting, if you're Encoring Undead Butler for some reason, you just get a mill 9, which is fine. It refills your yard. But the fact that it comes down for cheap, fills the graveyard, and then you can die, kill it, sacrifice, whatever, chump block, get your best thing back to recast, this card's fantastic.
Yeah, I love the choice. It's not get it back and it has to be exiled. It's, do you want to do this? Do you want to pay this mana and get it back? Okay, sometimes you will. Sometimes you won't. You make the choice that's better for you there. Speaking of cheaper ways to entomb, Buried Alive. This card is an absolute house in this deck. Search your deck, find your best 3 creatures, and put them in your graveyard. This lets you, if you have Araumi out, this sets you up perfectly to just have an amazing turn.
I would even go for like 2 amazing Araumi targets and then 1 creature that has a graveyard ability like Unearth or, that can reanimate itself or activate in some way, just so that even if Araumi dies, you still have value.
Yeah, absolutely. Buried Alive just sets you up perfectly. Windfall, you want to fill up your graveyard. What better than to literally throw your hand in there and get a brand new hand? Windfall also lets you it can be card advantage if you need to. This card is very versatile. It could either be the filling up the graveyard, which it will be often, or sometimes you'll just have a great curve out hand where you'll play everything by turn 5, and then you'll just cast Windfall and draw a fresh new 7 and feel great.
Oh yeah, if you want to tap with Araumi, there's nothing more you would enjoy than a Vile Entomber. Go find your best thing, and get it right back right now with haste. There's 3 of them also. This is going to work super well with some of the better, smaller creatures that we want to Encore that we'll talk about later. Vile Entomber is going to be sweet, and if you are really hurting, it's Buried Alive with an Araumi activation.
This just cuts 1 mana off of Lamia. That's all. And I think that's very worth it because if you thought Lamia reduced Encore cost, it doesn't, so it's just not good enough.
Right, it just doesn't give you anything extra. There's also Unmarked Grave. It's just Entomb, but it's not an unreasonably expensive card.
Yeah, this is a budget Entomb that I was, willing to get. Entomb was like I think $20, $10, something a little ages. And I don't worry, I spent good money on you, Mucka. We'll get to that. Next, 2 cards that probably should have just been in this deck from the beginning. Carrion Feeder, Viscera Seer. They're creatures, they're sack outlets. We need at least a couple sack outlets within this deck. Sometimes we want to get creatures from the battlefield to the graveyard, and this is the easiest way to do it on 1 mana creatures.
Plus, if you have redundant Encore tokens that aren't going to be doing anything, just sack them to scry 3 or to get 3 counters on Carrion Feeders, just extra stuff. It's also Champion of Wits. ETB, draw 2, discard 2. This is what I like more than the Bizarre Trader or the Trade Mage because it keeps you even on cards. It has an Embalm ability or Eternalize, so you can get it back from the graveyard and then go up on cards. And it's just an all-around solid little piece. If you have something in your hand that you want to Encore, well, this is a great way to get it out of there.
Hilarious. I figured out where our Champion of Wits went.
That's where it went. We were missing a Champion of Wits, and I was like, where did this go? Joe has it in the deck.
I gave it to Mucka. Yeah, Mucka, we gave you our Champion of Wits, and that's hilarious that we literally spent like 10 minutes looking for this Champion.
It's okay. I found another one. We had one lying around.
Well, that works.
Yeah, look, I took one from the Spirit Precon. Incarnation Technique is the last one. This is Joe Cherry's little discovery of the year that he likes to talk about.
Yeah, I think this card's just good. It's 5 mana, mill 5, reanimate. Okay, but it has the ability Demonstrate, which says you can do it again if you let another player do it. You let the player with the worst creature deck, whatever the least
Probably just
creature,
me.
Just let BZ, because he's going to reanimate a 2-drop, do it. And then you've mill 5, reanimate, mill 5, reanimate. You've put 10 cards in your graveyard, and you've gotten 2 reanimations. This card is absolutely stellar for a deck that is looking to both self-mill and reanimate.
It's great when you don't have access to Araumi. You go, hey, I'm still going to enact my game plan perfectly. Even if Arami's got tax up to wazoo, this is fine. We're still going to be able to reanimate. Speaking of reanimate, though, the best things to reanimate, these are like the go-to targets with Araumi. We can hit any creature in the deck, obviously, and that's great to have that option. But these are the ones we want for reals.
Yes, these are so much better than what we were doing before. Rakshasa the Baser, get out of here. These are the cuts. These are the cuts. Rakshasa the Baser, get out of here. Mucka opened this in a Commander Legends draft, and he had fun with it. Great in Limited, terrible in actual Commander, where we just have so many better things. Grave Titan, sorry.
Nice try.
Nice try. This actually, I tried to look and see, is this actually good enough? So it does make a lot of creatures. Your 5 and 6 drops that you reanimate with Araumi are so much better than making 12 zombies.
12 tutus is great. I mean, that's the best Grave Titan's ever been, and I still think it's just not there.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to what we put in over it, but they're way better.
We're going to be throwing around some insane numbers.
Yeah, way bigger numbers. We also have Meteor Golem. Meteor Golem is just not a great... It's a very filler commander card that you just don't need once you start like really upgrading decks. And Fleshbag Marauder, yeah, this is okay. I understand what you were going for, but we just don't we don't need it. I made this deck better.
This deck's nuts. All right, so I want to talk about these first two ads. These are my first suggestions for Joe to upgrade this deck. Floating Dream Zubera and Ashen Skin Zubera. They care about, when they die, they care about the number of Zuberas that have died under your control this turn. And Zubera, the blue one lets you draw cards for the number of Zuberas that died this turn, and the black one forces target opponent to discard cards equal to the number of Zuberas that died this turn. So what happens with Encore specifically is that you target one of the Zuberas in the graveyard, you get 3 of them, they attack, let's say they deal damage or whatever, and then at the end step, you sacrifice all of them at once. It's just one trigger off of Encore. It says sacrifice those tokens at the next end step. So they all die at the same time, and they say, hey, the blue one, well, you have 3 instances of 3 Zuberas dying this turn, so you get to draw 9 cards. And the black one, you get to force opponents to discard 9 cards. Not all of them. You can have each opponent discard 3, or one player discard 9, and you spent 2 mana.
Yeah, so with these, what I just to be clear, the best way to play these cards is either A, have a sack outline on the field, go sack, 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 and then have the triggers in the stack. They'll all see 3 at the end. Or you want to do it second main phase so that you don't have to put them in combat. Because when you put them in combat, if one dies in combat and the other 2 don't die in combat,
the numbers just get thrown off. It's still good, but the numbers are slower.
Exactly. So they're not big. They're tiny little 1/1 creatures. So you just don't care about them getting in. So when you don't care about getting in the red zone, do it second main. They won't have to attack. They'll just go away on the end step, and you'll get these awesome triggers.
Absolutely nuts. It's going to be tough to stop you when somebody loses their hand or everybody loses their hand, or you draw 9 cards. These are both better than Grave Titan, and they're 2 mana.
Yeah, and some let's just start getting into things. I put big things.
Oh man,
we got big things.
These are nuts.
Let's get into big giant things that are better than Grave Titan.
Hashtag suck it Grave Titan.
Sepulchral Primordial. What if when you reanimate it, you reanimated 9 things, 3 from each opponent's graveyard? Is that good, Breezy?
Real creatures that stay in play have ETBs and dies of their own and can then attack or block more profitably than 2/2s. Yeah, I would say that's a little bit better. You also get 3 5/4s with Intimidate.
Yeah, they all have Intimidate, so like they're hard to block on top of that. They don't have a black creature. You're just getting, as Nitpicking Nerds have always said, into the red zone.
Into the red zone. I want to talk about this next one, Kakusho, the Evening Star. You normally don't want to encore legendary creatures because they just die to the legend rule. Except with Kakusho, you want it to die. And they're all going to die off encore anyway. So it's good for 15 damage to each opponent, and you gain, 45 life?
Is that good?
Plus, somebody takes an additional 5 because they're 5/5 flyers, and one of them will stick around.
Yes, one of them will get into the red zone, as we always say here at the Nitpicking Nerds. Yeah, Kakusho, I mean, you explained it perfectly. It's an insane amount of life drain. It's just 6 mana, drain 1,000,000 life.
It's like, my Grave Titan, I attacked 12 zombies. That's 24 power. I could attack for 24 next turn. Or I have Kakusho, and I literally just deal 15, 15, 15, and 5 right now.
Mucka. Now, this is the card that I had to stop you from buying because I was trying to do this upgrade for you, and you're like, I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade my own deck whenever I want. Even
right before Christmas.
Right before Secret Santa, that we do every single year.
Where we buy magic cards for each other.
Exactly. So Wormcoil Engine, a card you specifically said you wanted. If you want a 1/1 replacement for Grave Titan, this is it. You can count this as the 1/1 replacement. 3 6/6s with lifelink and death touch get in, and you gain 18 life. Then they die into just
18 power worth of 3/3s.
That's so many 3/3s. And they have lifelink and death touch, so they're worth way more than worthless 2/2 zombies from Grave Titan.
Yeah, so instead of just attacking for 18, you attack for 18 with an 18-point gain. So it's like a 36-point life swing if they're unblocked. Plus now you're holding back 9 power of lifelink and 9 power of death touch.
Oh, so we just said that Grave Titan making 12 zombies would be good. The 12 bodies. Well, what if we can make those numbers a lot better?
Okay, I'm listening.
Underworld Hermit. It's a 6-drop that you get squirrels equal to your devotion.
Okay.
Now, if you encore this one, counting Araumi, there's 6, 7. That's 21 squirrels. That's without any other devotion on the battlefield. If you have any one devotion you add is 1 more squirrel.
Times 3.
Same thing with Abhorrent Overlord, but this one, they have flying. And the Overlord's just ability that it's like supposed to be its downside is gone because it leaves the battlefield. It's out of here at the end of turn, meaning that we just get to keep these 1/1s for free.
Right. I'm not really worried about dying. I'll throw a burn spell, quote unquote, with these 6/6 flyers at each opponent, make them deal with it or take it. I don't care. Here's 50 harpies. Go ahead.
It's so many. It's 21 harpies or 21 squirrels minimum.
Right.
Bare minimum that you're getting. You add anything else on the battlefield, how are you ever losing? It's so many guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you lose at that point. Good luck even representing that. That's so many. Get your D20s out.
Yeah. I'll represent my harpies with this D20, which only goes to 20 and not 21.
20's plural. D20's plural. We also have, to scale things down a bit, Fibblethip, the Lost, and Dusk Legion Zealot. They're cantrips that, if you're hurting for some cards, get Encore with the Araumi, and they draw you 3 cards. Nothing much else to even say.
They're so simple. You want some 2-drops that come out early, draw you cards, and will fuel your graveyard. These are exactly that. They're worse Baleful Strix. Sure, they're not as good, but they're going to fill the exact same role every single time, and they're going to draw you 3 cards when you Encore.
This last one I've experimented with in the past, but I want Cherries to go through what happens here.
This is Brood Birth Viper, which has the ability Myriad. When it attacks, you make a copy of it for each other opponent that's not attacking, and you make them attacking those opponents. So, when this thing deals combat damage, you draw a card. We're going to Encore it, obviously. That's the whole thing. Get 3 of them, attack, and now we get 6 more of them. There's 3 attacking each opponent. Whichever ones get through, we're drawing cards for.
It's up to 9 cards with 9 3/3s attacking. I like this a lot. It's good early game. You can do it on turn 5 easily. I think you can do this on turn 5.
In this deck,
and
yeah.
You're drawing like at least 6 cards, maybe forcing a chump block. I don't know. That's pretty sick.
Yes. And then we're moving on to our very last category, which is basically miscellaneous, but all of it starts with R. It's removal, ramp, reanimation, and random stuff.
In the red zone.
In getting into the red zone. The cuts here. Victimize. We can just do better when it comes to reanimation spells.
Like Araumi.
Victimize is the most solid C card you'll ever see, but it's just not going to make the cut.
Yep, Supernatural Stamina is an okay trick. I get why it's here, but we cut it. Price of Fame, solid removal spell, not solid enough, I guess. Charcoal Diamond and Sky Diamond, they're out. We're going to probably put in Untap Rocks instead, I would imagine.
We did.
Panharmonicon's okay, but we're not solely relying on ETBs, and I think it's a little clunky already and a little risky because you might not always get your value back, so we're trimming that as well. Mox Amber, in honor of my cat who did leave, we have to cut this one.
Yeah. I mean, Mox Amber's fine. It's fine. Our commander costs 3. We'll have him out a decent amount of time.
How many legends are in here?
Yeah, exactly. There's not that many legends. And when you're falling behind, Mox Amber falls you more behind because
falls you more behind.
Well, what I mean by that is Mox Amber's only online essentially when we have our commander in this deck.
Which is a lightning rod. Usually you want it when your commander's not that.
Or not a lightning rod, or there's a high concentration of legends within the deck. This is not that. Cut counterspell. We can just do better when it comes to counterspells. That's
it just seems like counterspell, Pongify, Rings of Bright Earth, and Thought Vessel are not creatures. And if you're seeing the creatures we have, they're all ludicrous.
Okay. Thought Vessel, get your head out of your butt, Mucka. Thought Vessel is a Nambo, an absolute Nambo in this deck. If we draw 30 cards for some reason, for whatever reason,
well, Zubera draws 9.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying, like, we draw 30 cards. Somebody makes us draw 30 cards. We want to discard. We want to fill our graveyard. Thought Vessel actively goes against our game plan. Our graveyard wants to be filled up, meaning that discarding end of turn is advantage for us, not a bad thing.
This isn't geared towards Mucka, but I think a lot of people over-include these no-max hand size cards, kind of not thinking about it or just thinking that it's inherently good. In Commander, you don't need more than 7 cards to win in the late game. You just don't.
And especially when it comes to decks that want stuff in their graveyard, like any graveyard strategy. It just doesn't even matter.
Carador, Araumi.
Exactly. All these decks, they 100% would never want to have a maximum hand size.
Exactly. So what did we add?
Well, we added first Ravenous Chupacabra. Pognify can get out of this deck for Ravenous Chups. We'll pay 3 more mana, get the creature, and now this fuels our game plan. Later in the game, we activate, get Ravenous Chups back, and just destroy the best 3 creatures on the battlefield.
Yeah, Rapid Hybrid's only good for a 1-for-1, but Chups is good for 4 creatures over the course of the game.
Yes. We mentioned the cutting the diamonds earlier. Talisman of Dominance, Dimir Signet, these are just obvious staples of the format. They come in untapped. That's so huge.
Yeah, if it wasn't obvious, these are all cards you now own because everything we're adding is part of the gift. Shriekmaw, same deal as Chups, except it's actually cheaper. Reanimate, straight up, this is the most efficient way to bring creatures back, and now it's yours. And it even targets anyone's graveyard.
Yeah, we had an extra Reanimate laying around. So you get a Reanimate, Mucka, we love you.
No, we bought it from I don't know. You rescued an orphan something else wholesome happened, and then you ended up with a Reanimate.
Yeah, I rescued an orphan, and he gave me his only Reanimate. I tried to give it back, but he insisted I have it.
And then he died of loneliness.
No, that's just sad now.
Well, his spirit later communicated with you and said everything's fine.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Yeah. There was also Living Death. There's no story for this one. We just had one line around.
This card's this card's insane. You're playing your graveyard strategies, but you're turbo self-milling. Guess what? Living Death's amazing.
It's kind of just a free win. I mean, how many Gray Merchants, Harpy Makers do you need to get back before this game's just over? Your opponents aren't going to be going as hard in the paint as you, so the game's going to be over.
Yeah, exactly. Araumi's exiling all the non-creatures from our deck from the graveyard.
Yeah.
So the graveyard's filled up with creatures for the most part. It's just like BZ said. This just is a free win. Ramp, Wayfarer's Bauble. This is another just you're not in green. Get a Wayfarer's Bauble. It goes in the deck.
You're playing Magic. Get a Skull Clamp. It goes in every deck, and it's amazing. Mind Stone and Felwar Stone and Prismatic Lens just round out the 2-mana untapped rocks. I know they don't accelerate you into Araumi, but almost nothing does. They're going to accelerate you into anything else.
The fact that Skull Clamp exists and is in this deck is hilariously just makes Grave Titan that much worse. It makes the Squirrel Maker for 1/1s that much better.
Oh, man. All I can do this turn is get back 3 Citrus Suppliers and set things up. I guess I'll also draw 6 cards.
Yeah, it's that much better. And like you said, we said 3 more 2-mana rocks. You said Prismatic Lens, Felwar Stone, Mind Stone. 2-mana rocks, untapped. That's what you want to be doing in Commander.
Looks like you really overhauled the mana base. What have we changed for lands?
Giving credit where credit is due, the mana base was very, very good. I did not have to do much to this mana base because it was just there. It was already to a point where it wanted to be. Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, those just aren't good enough for Commander overall unless you're on a tight budget or lower power level. I would just cut these almost always. Added Shipwreck Marsh to the deck, which is the slow land. Comes untapped as long as you have 2 other lands.
Very good.
In the Folly of Drown Yard, just another way to self-mill in a land slot, just a free roll.
Yeah, if you're not going to be too stretched on colors, which 2-color decks generally aren't, it's nice to be able to go, oh man, I have nothing better to do. Okay, I'll just fill my graveyard and get to encoring next turn.
Yes. So the budget for this deck, well, there was none. We didn't actually have any budget. I could have spent whatever I wanted. I wasn't going to put how much I spent here.
It's a little weird.
Well, the only reason I put it is because there's going to be links in the description.
And other people watch our videos.
For anybody else who wants to get this stuff.
Yeah.
So if he wants to look, he can research it in 5 seconds. So I'm just going to say it in the video because it's just that much easier.
For those who are not Jordan Mucka also, who are like, how much do these upgrades cost?
Yeah, the upgrades were worth a total of $117.15. Damn, I'm good.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with this. The original average mana value of the deck, very impressive, 3.21. But now, even seeing that we added at least 2 7-drops and 2 6-drops, 3.05 is your average spells cost.
This deck is gonna it's gonna like a car. It's gonna purr. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this deck, much like my cat who left, is going to purr.
It's going to purr. It's gonna run super smooth. Total change is 30. You got 30 new cards, Mucka, in that little. In your new deck box, actually.
Yeah, clearly this is the second best Secret Santa gift next to only mine.
No, this is the best Secret Santa gift that anyone's given ever.
Wow, ever. Not even like our friend group.
Yeah, not even our friend group. Nobody has ever done better.
I think if we want to be self-absorbed and talk about monetary value, even if you upgraded nothing, like let's say you just switched out Corpse Churn for Undead Butler, still the most valuable tune-up because of our time.
Yeah,
because we're working right now.
Yeah, this is replacing a video. So whatever money that video would have made, this will make less. So you owe me money, Mucka.
Okay, a short on a Saturday. I guess I won't say exactly how much it makes, but we're not blowing any socks off.
True. This might make more money. Shorts are just like to get our name out and get views. It
brings in new people.
Exactly. They're not money makers.
They're not money makers. Despite what they may look like. Tidbit about our lives.
Yes. Wait. Well, I just want to say special shout-outs to all of our patrons.
I want to say, this 5-minute spiel that I forgot.
Yeah, I want to say special shout-outs to all of our patrons.
I skipped everything.
We don't need to necessarily do the rest of it. I just want to say thank you to every one of our patrons who support us every single day. You're even watching this video. We love you. We can skip to the tidbit now. We don't have to do the other
Merry
shout-outs.
Christmas. Happy holidays. Enjoy all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Family.
Enjoy
Presents.
your family. This is just for you, Mucka. We did this. We have Secret Santa. This is coming up. We are recording it.
Maybe we should explain why we're doing this.
Why we're doing this?
Yeah, we have a group of 14 people. They're all Magic players, and we put our names in a hat, or a metaphorical hat, and then draw them for Secret Santa. This is the 4th time we've done it.
Yeah, and actually, one of the main reasons I chose to do this was because last year, Mucka had me, and his gifts were very thoughtful.
Oh, yeah.
And very well thought out. Even if the Coca-Cola with no sugar tasted horrible.
Like death.
It was the nicest thing. It was a well thought out gift. It tasted horrible. It tasted so bad.
It's the thought that counts.
I tried it. I opened one at the event, like we were hanging out, and I sipped it like twice. It certainly is flavor.
If you're wondering anything about Jordan Mucka, our friend, he is the most athletic Magic player, and he's the hottest of the group.
Yes,
That's our tidbit.
He is. I know. I will get a picture of him.
We'll get a picture?
I'll get a picture of Mucka. I don't. If he's mad about it, we'll change it afterward. But I can't tell him until it's already out.
I think he's okay with a couple thousand people seeing his picture.
Yeah,
I was calling him attractive.
Yeah, I'll find the one where I'll find a shirtless pic of him.
No, I don't want it.
I don't think I can even find a shirt. Mucka is a very reserved, nice gentleman.
As humble as he is muscular.
Yeah, he doesn't take shirtless pics. He just takes normal pics.
How would you even know?
I guess I don't.
Nope, he doesn't. He's never taken one.
I guess I don't know. I assume. I guess I'm just making broad assumptions based on the character of Mucka that is in my head.
And the real Christmas present, Mucka, is now you know that Joe has thought about you shirtless.
Only right now. I think this is the first time I've thought about you shirtless.
I still haven't.
You are.
I'm a good friend. I still haven't.
You're imagining his six-pack because he definitely has a six-pack.
I'm imagining his six-pack. He's holding the carbonated water that he's about to give to you.
Oh, no, not again. Peace out, Tribe Scouts. Merry Christmas, Mucka.